Welcome to The Happy Writer, a show about creating and sustaining a long-term author career. My name is Patty Jansen, writer of science fiction and fantasy. I've published independently since 2011. This show covers motivation, diversification, learning new skills, and your place in your career. Come on in and be happy. In episode 7 of The Happy Writer, I will discuss a question that is often asked of wide writers. How do you advertise? There are so many different options and different places to advertise, and so much money you can spend. This is especially a big shock for authors who come out of exclusivity, where advertising is pretty one-dimensional and also quite effective, and where some people are used to spending huge amounts of money. So it's not that these people are reluctant to spend money after taking their books wide, but that they struggle to see the most effective avenue. When you ask the question of how to advertise wide books in a group, some people will tell you to book promotions with the very reputable and useful list-based promotion sites, such as those mentioned in a list on the Readsy website. They include sites like Freebooksy and eReader News Today, and a whole host of sites like that. While I have nothing against any of those promotion sites, and some of them can work quite well, they usually end up being little more than a sugar hit. Unless you have a very long series, it is also highly unlikely that these lists will save your butt. You can run pay-per-click ads to your book on every platform, but if you struggle to get these ads financially viable, like the majority of people selling $4.99 ebooks, as opposed to courses worth a few hundred, you are going to be in a very large financial hole very quickly. It's highly unlikely that this will save your butt either. Besides, the premise of The Happy Writer is that you want to get off that high-octane advertising roller coaster that wears you out and gobbles up your time and your spare cash. Make no mistake, I don't think paid ads are bad. I just happen to think that you can do a lot of stuff before you consider paying for ads. Paid ads, and especially the pay-per-click variety, are an advanced strategy that will become more profitable once you have all the stuff I'm discussing in this episode set up. By the time you've done this, you may even find that the added stress and time suck of running ads is no longer necessary. Most people find themselves advertising less once they've pulled their books out of Kindle Unlimited. What? Selling books without ads? What is this magic? It's possible, but you need to completely overhaul your thinking. Let's talk about fungus, the stuff that grows in your fridge. In the research lab, I used to grow seeds in petri dishes. You'd put the seeds on a layer of moist filter paper, squirt water on them, and look at them once a day. Nice seeds would grow a little root, and the next day 2 little leaves. The little leaves are called cotyledons, for the nerds amongst us. But if you had a bad seed, oh dear. Black fungus would grow out from the seed, and soon the entire bottom of the dish growing outwards from the seed in tiny little black filaments that covered the entire surface of the paper. This is the type of fungus I'm talking about. Bringing this back to the book analogy, the seed is your book. The fungus is the reach of your discoverability. Little strands of growth that spread out like an interwoven patch that constantly pushes outwards from the center. Your loyal readers are close to the seed. New readers are at the edges, where the fungus threads are thin and connection with the seed is tenuous. Pay-per-click ads target the outside of the growing edge with a blunt force. By throwing ad money at this audience, you're paying for each and every person who sees that product. It's expensive. You don't know if you're targeting the right audience. You haven't optimized optimize the product. You're trying to grow the outer edge without having fed the middle. You need to start talking inside out. Start with the middle of the patch, the seed, your book. And we're going to optimize it all the way to the edge of the patch. Other than having a nice cover and being well written, and really be honest with yourself and ask yourself this question at least once a year, does my book and its presentation still cut the mustard? What else can you do for your book that will increase read-through and discoverability? What is the likelihood that people are going to find that book in a search on a retailer website? How do you increase the chance that people will have heard about you and maybe find you through Google? Apart from your book, you have a very important row of plots of real estate to do this, and you need to optimize the living daylights out of them. Starting with your book's front matter and back matter. You need to have live links in there to whatever it is you want people to do next. Sign up to your mailing list, buy the next book, go to your website to read more about the series. Some or all of those things need to be in either the front matter or back matter, and preferably both. You need to make sure the links are correct, that they work, that they're evergreen, and that they lead to a page that looks attractive and is relevant to the reason they clicked it. Just a note about evergreen links. They need to be links you control, not ones hosted on a third-party site, such as the company where you host your mailing list. If you happen to change hosts, then all the links to the books that were previously sold and are on people's devices will now go nowhere. At the very least, use a redirect service for the links you put into your books, so that you can swap out one page URL for another. Your book needs a page on your website. You need to SEO optimize this page to the fullest extent. On WordPress, get a plugin called Yoast, and simply follow the instructions until you have a green traffic light. This usually involves putting the title of your book in the title of the page, in the image tags, and having clearly readable text with links to other sites. You need to do this for every page on your website, and don't forget the pages for direct sales or series. Next, you need to look at the retail pages of your books on the retail sites. Do they offer series pages? Get them filled out. Are all the data, such as your covers or blurbs, still up to date and relevant? Don't forget any of the smaller retailers. Look at the categories retailers offer. Look at the particular quirks of the retailer website to see if you can make use of them. For example, Barnes & Noble has a bunch of non-BISAC categories. Google Play allows you to enter links to sales pages for audio and print. They sell audio, but not print. Set those pages up to go to your own website. Make sure you enter the publisher as yourself with a link to your website. Enter a publisher logo. You want your book to stand out on those platforms. Optimize your metadata. Fill out every single field they offer. This is why I prefer not to use aggregators. Also, look to see if the retailers offer in-house promotion you can apply for. Both Kobo and Barnes & Noble do. Next, look at where and how you are interlinking all these places where a reader can find you. Your website, your series pages, your retail pages. If a retailer allows it, put up a live link that leads to a place where people can sign up for your mailing list. Make sure that your mailing list sign-up is in the reader's face, either in the header of the site or through one of those annoying pop-ups. You just set the pop-up to appear once a month per person and ignore the screamers who say pop-ups don't work. They do. They are annoying, yes. They also work very well. Next, make nice pages for each of your series on your website that list all the places where people can buy the books. This is especially useful when you have some series that are exclusive to Amazon and some that are not. Don't forget your audio and print books. Make pages for them too. Put live links wherever there is room to put them. Don't assume that people will find or click the one single link to your books to read link that you've put in the back matter of the previous book. Don't assume that people will just find it on your website. If your website is not SEO optimized, no one will get to your website except when you send them there. Don't assume one link is enough. Put the links everywhere you can. Attach links to your images and in the back of your books as well as individual retail sites. Put those links in your newsletters. Assuming that people on your list have read all your books is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. They haven't. Advertise your books to them by mentioning the books with live links in your newsletters. Make sure you list your direct sales pages there as well and try to encourage people to buy there. As for SEO, don't try to get sucked into the hype surrounding this. At our level, you just want to make sure that all your keywords are pointing in the same direction. A page's SEO keywords simply need to say what's in the box. What is the page about? In our case, that would be the title of the book or the series and your name. That's it. You want those keywords in the title, in the page URL, and in the text. If you're on WordPress, grab a plugin called Yoast that will help you with this. The book's title, the name. Don't try to be clever. When you've got this whole spiderweb set up and it's like a big fungus growing outwards with little filaments that reach into all places where people can possibly discover you, now we can start thinking about what people would normally call discoverability. But we're still not going to pay for it. A great way to get a lot of eyes on your book is to make it free. The first free in series is a tried and tested method that really sells books. Don't listen to the people who say it doesn't work. It does, if you put free books under the noses of the right people. If you put it under the noses of enough of the right people. If your book looks nice and well presented. If your book delivers. There's a couple of ifs here. Pay close attention to them. It all starts with a book. Really, it does. But even better than single books, try free box sets. In general, you do have to advertise or cross-promote free single books because there are so many free books. The free box sets usually get lots of downloads without any advertising at all. Of course, you don't want to give away a whole bunch of free books, but you're sure to have some friends who also have a free book, so form a box set together. Free box sets don't require any administration on behalf of the organizers. No tax forms, income splitting, no nothing. Just put it up there, ask the participants to mention it to their readers and let it sit there. Other than free books, there is also a market for reduced price books. So while you can have a book in a free box set, you can also have that same book at 99 cents at the retailers. These are different markets. I've done this for years and no one has ever complained. I also give free books for newsletter subscribers, and in 6 years, one person asked why people would subscribe, since the book was also free on Amazon. And I told him to go to Amazon in Germany, where it's pretty much impossible to keep anything free. Then you can take part in cross-promotions. BookFunnel has many promotions where people send readers to the retailers to download books. Readers who use BookFunnel promotions are less likely to be KU subscribers because otherwise they'd get their free book fix in KU. Once you have done all these things, then maybe you can start thinking about paid ads. Paid ads should probably be part of your strategy, but one that goes at the very end and is the pinnacle of driving your readers once you know who those readers are, once you know where they hang out, what their age group is, and what they are likely to respond to. Of course, all of this is not fast. You have to give people time to read free books. Building an attractive website will take time, and any major changes you make in the back matter likely take months to start filtering through. Changes in your website's SEO scores take a month. Changes in categories and keywords at retailers are quicker, but all of these are compound interest activities. We're talking about small changes and long time periods. If I SEO optimize a landing page for a free book and 2 people a day find the page, I might otherwise have paid 50 cents per click to drive these people there with pay-per-click ads. That's $1 per day or $30 per month. But these people don't exist in a vacuum. They looked for something that brought up your books and found you. The more specific your keyword, the more targeted these visitors will be. They downloaded a free book and relied on your back matter to get the second book in the series from wherever they buy books. Now they need to tell their friends. This is a long and laborious process, but it's also resistant to any kind of retailer shenanigans or shocks in sales numbers. They say people need 7 touches before they buy. Make sure that those touches are provided by you and that you're everywhere. Unshackle your inner fungus and learn how to sell books without ads. Once all these systems are set up, you can start thinking about buying some ads. I would still not do pay-per-click ads, but try some newsletters. Many of these are quite inexpensive, and if you spread them out enough, you can judge the effectiveness of each. You can determine which book responds best on which retailer. If you're going to spend on ads, don't use ads to try and prop up sales for your poor cousin books. Always spend first on your winners. This was an overview on how to advertise wide without doing anything that feels like advertising. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about multi-author box sets and how I use them to generate sales. Thank you for listening to the Happy Writer Show. Check out links and other episodes on my website at pattyjansen.com and my YouTube channel.